Operation Sindoor's dust settled this summer, one unanswered question continues to dominate discussions. Did India inadvertently or deliberately strike something of strategic value to the United States? The bare facts are alarming enough. In early May 2025, India launched swift precision missile strikes deep into Pakistan, targeting 9 sites. Out of those, the Nur Khan Airbase, a critical Pakistan Air Force hub just kilometers from Islamabad, has generated the most amount of buzz. Not only for its proximity to Pakistan's nuclear command, but also because of persistent claims of a US presence at the facility. So back to the question that has lingered in policy circles and online speculation alike. Did India hit something important to the US? Washington's unusually muted response, its refusal to deny possible F-16 losses, and its sudden diplomatic urgency to secure a ceasefire all feed this narrative. And then there are the tariffs. Even though the additional US tariffs against India are officially rooted in trade imbalances and New Delhi's continued purchase of Russian crude oil amid the Ukraine war, yet the timing, tone, and surrounding diplomatic tensions have sparked speculation that India's Operation Sindoor played an indirect role in souring ties. The White House would have us believe that the tariffs were overwhelmingly linked to Russian oil. But Operation Sindoor, and particularly India's strike on the Nur Khan Airbase, may have deepened mistrust in Washington by brushing up against American strategic interests in Pakistan.
Attack हुआ है नूर खान बेस पे.
Nur Khan Airbase sits just 10 kilometers from Islamabad and near the Strategic Plans Division, the nerve center of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal. By striking this base with precision munitions, including BrahMos NG missiles, India not only degraded Pakistan's air mobility, but also symbolically demonstrated that no Pakistani military installation is beyond reach. Satellite imagery confirmed runway craters, destroyed support vehicles, and damage to at least one major hangar. For New Delhi, this was a message of deterrence. For Washington, however, the strike cut dangerously close to Pakistan's nuclear command infrastructure, always a red line in US crisis management. The most visible gap in US communication came over the F-16 question. Unlike in 2019, when the US loudly denied F-16 losses after Balakot, Washington this time told reporters to, quote, ask Pakistan. For a government usually quick to defend its hardware and end-use agreements, this silence is indicative of discomfort. India's Air Force chief suggested that F-16s were probably hit in damaged hangars. Satellite photos do show destroyed facilities at Nur Khan and Jacobabad, where F-16s are regularly housed. Yet Washington neither denied nor confirmed. This silence stood out. It gave rise to two lines of speculation. Material losses that US supplied aircraft were indeed damaged. Strategic embarrassment that India's ability to hit so close to Pakistan's nuclear command shook Washington's confidence in its crisis management tools. Fueling speculation was Pakistani analyst Imtiaz Gul, who went public in June alleging that parts of Nur Khan are effectively under US control, with even senior Pakistani officers restricted from access. He claimed frequent US aircraft movements, notably C-17 Globemasters, and suggested covert agreements granting Washington operational privileges at the base. These claims triggered uproar in Pakistan as they fit a historical pattern. During the Cold War, U-2 flights operated from Badawar. During the War on Terror, US drones launched from Shamsi. The notion that Nur Khan now hosts some form of American operational presence is plausible but unverified. Neither Washington nor Islamabad has denied the allegations, further stoking speculation. If true, India's strike may have risked damaging not just Pakistani but also US equipment, or more symbolically, exposed America's footprint in Pakistan's military infrastructure. While the intrigue over F-16s and alleged US facilities captures public imagination, most experts point to another explanation for Washington's urgency: nuclear escalation fears. Geopolitical analysts feel that India's strike on Nur Khan could be read as a warning shot against Pakistan's nuclear command network. For American policymakers, this possibility was alarming. The US has long invested in monitoring and securing Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, fearing instability or unauthorized escalation. The idea that India demonstrated the ability to strike near this command chain would explain why Washington moved rapidly to broker a ceasefire, despite earlier reluctance to get involved. This interpretation also aligns with the timing. US engagement spiked only after Nur Khan was hit. Social media amplified the controversy. X buzzed with claims that India had struck American turf at Nur Khan, forcing Washington's hand. Others circulated unverified rumors that India also targeted Kirana Hills, believed to host nuclear storage facilities, as economic blackmail to discipline India for both Russian oil and its independent military actions. Others tied them explicitly to Nur Khan, echoing Gul's claims of US control. Former Pakistani military officials added fuel, some publicly recalling that US personnel in the past restricted Pakistani officers' access at certain bases. These anecdotes, combined with the government's silence, left space for the perception that sovereignty was compromised. Still, these claims remain speculative. There is no independent verification that US facilities at Nur Khan were damaged, nor that India deliberately targeted nuclear storage sites.
Chaklala airfield, Nur Khan, once again a major air base. A lot of their logistic assets out here. This was the chosen complex that we intended to strike and convey a message.
Tariffs may also have been colored by Trump's irritation over ceasefire diplomacy. After Operation Sindoor, Washington rushed to broker restraint between Delhi and Islamabad. Trump publicly claimed credit for forcing a ceasefire. India, however, pushed back, insisting Pakistan's DGMO initiated the truce. For a precedent attuned to optics, India's rebuttal stung. It coincided with the July tariff escalation, leading some in Delhi to suspect the tariffs carried a political edge, not just a trade one.
Look, the president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end, and he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
While Washington's official justification remains India's Russian oil trade, three dynamics suggest Sindur may have indirectly shaped the tariff environment. Trust deficit. By striking Nur Khan, India reminded the US that it could unsettle Pakistan's nuclear command. For Washington, long invested in nuclear security there, this was a warning shot. Possible US embarrassment. If US supplied F-16s were damaged, or if US personnel were operating at Nur Khan, the strikes could have been diplomatically awkward. Silence rather than denial was telling. Diminished goodwill. Trump's anger at India's public dismissal of his ceasefire role, combined with Delhi's assertive autonomy on Russian oil, eroded space for compromise. The tariffs then were not retaliation for Sindoor per se, but the strikes likely hardened Washington's stance when deciding how hard to squeeze India on trade. They were driven by Washington's determination to penalize India's continued Russian oil trade. Yet, Sindoor lurked in the backdrop. reinforcing US doubts about India's strategic choices and narrowing diplomatic goodwill. In that sense, while oil was the reason, Sindur was the context. The strikes on Nur Khan sharpened US anxieties about South Asia's nuclear balance and may have made Washington less inclined to show India flexibility on trade. The tariffs then illustrate a larger truth. In US-India relations, economics and geopolitics are never far apart.